1965, 1966 Zenith all transistor Royal 810. This radio is totally dead. We're going to attempt to repair this radio today. It's solid state, made in USA, of foreign and domestic components. AM, FM, germanium transistors, very compact, heavy, well built. Alright, let's get into it. Let's see if we can fix it. I put batteries in this and it was just stone dead, like maybe the on-off switch or bad solder or broken battery compartment, something like that. But always take a few minutes and just sit down and look at the thing through a good magnifying glass and familiarize yourself with what's going on. Looks like maybe we have a transistor that was replaced here. This one says Hitachi on it. These capacitors are a mixed bag. Sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good. Would they cause the radio to be absolutely stone dead? Probably not. You'd still get a little pop or crackle or hiss or something. Well, that's not good. That looks like probably the FM balancing capacitor. That's not going to cause it not to work. The FM AFC wouldn't work right. So these transistors all look original. Let's see these. Those have Zenith numbers on them. This one does not. This one, Hitachi 2SA15. I wonder what that is. So the on-off is right here. The on-off switch. Alright, let's put some power to it and see what happens. These are a little corroded, aren't they? We'll use these right here. These are 3.3 volts each. And they're right on the money. I wonder what's going on here. This is a 6 volt. I wonder what this piece of wood is wedged in here. Because there should be a switch inside this that disconnects the batteries when you plug the external power supply in. I wonder if this is wedged in that switch. Getting no current draw at all. I'm going to try and yank that piece of wood out. When I move that around, I'm getting 10 milliamps and some noise from the speaker. But now it's gone away totally, so I wonder if they had that stuck in there to make it work rather than kill it. Okay, so if I just go around that thing is bad.
Que pudieran ser ofrecidos en ese momento, y por eso Levíticos dice que
Okay, but FM is dead. Well, for starters, if you can see down in there, this thing is all corroded. So I'm just going to bypass this. I'm just going to jump blue to red. There is never a time where this will not be used with batteries. This will always be used as a portable radio. So we can delete this. There's no reason to have that there. Okay, it's not pretty, but it's out of the circuit. It'll never be a problem again, and like I said, it's never going to be used. So
ahora sí, que ya ando mirando la actitud de las personas, o lo que si es pobre, si es rico, por las cosas que es mejor. Que vengan a luego vienen los hijos.
Somebody's been getting on that car. It's too hard not to do it.
Higher financial life.
trying to find LA oldies here. K-Surf. Anyway, FM is not working. This has got to be it right here. So FM is totally dead. You got to get the punchline from this song in here. The Deadhead sticker on a Cadillac, right? All right, here we go. Here's all the information, the factory service manual. Power output 100 milliwatts. Better turn that down. FM sensitivity 3 microvolts for 50 milliwatts output. So it talks about the AC operation here, which we bypassed. If the receiver is not to be operated on batteries for several weeks, the battery should be removed. That's more pertinent now than it was in the 60s. Signal tracing. Printed circuit servicing. Okay, we're interested in, first of all, what this transistor is that's been replaced. You don't bring me flowers. God, LA Oldies is getting down today. Those are supposed to be the audio output transistors. It says matched pair. Well, they're not a matched pair. Someone replaced one of them. So it's not bringing me flowers. Okay, let's diagnose the reason why the FM is not working. Now, FM third IF, AM second IF. Keep in mind the AM is working very well. It's very sensitive. It's very loud. The AM is working very well. So this transistor is shared for both AM, FM. This transistor is shared for both AM, FM. FM first IF AM converter, so we would think that one would be working. This one here, FM converter, that could be dead and the AM would still work, or would it? Where's the ferrite rod connect? Yeah, I guess it would, because everything behind this point is not being used for AM. And then we got first audio output, the driver, and the matched pair. And this thing right here is what I bypassed. I just jumped across that thing. So this right here is a capacitor that's broken. That's not going to cause the FM not to work. So let's see, FM converter. Because even if the FM RF, if this transistor was bad, it would probably still pick something up in this really high signal environment of Los Angeles. And look at this on the transistor information chart. So FM RF, FM converter, they all have different Zenith part numbers. See, they go in order. But if you look at the EIA number, they're all 2N3588s, all of them, except for the audio. Supplier Amperex. Component replacement. Resistors and capacitors should be replaced by clipping out the defective part and neatly soldering in a new part. If a unit such as an oscillator coil or IF transformer is to be removed, heat the mounting lugs with a pencil iron and move them away from the set. So they don't want you taking the thing apart to replace resistors and capacitors. They want you doing it from the top. Keep in mind, when this came out, printed circuit boards were relatively new to the service industry, especially with Zenith. This right here is the FM converter, and I'm really suspecting it because this thing, all there is a little bit of hiss from the speaker. Not to say one of the IF's transistors couldn't be bad to the point where it's working at 455 but completely dead at 10.7 megahertz, but I doubt it. I mean, completely dead. It is completely dead. I put my ear up to the speaker and all I hear is hiss. Check our DC voltages here, and keep in mind when you measure this, this is PNP germanium, so your ground reference is actually positive on your battery. So yeah, you got your ground connected here and all your voltages are going to be negative. So we should have on the emitter, we should have negative 6.69, base negative 0.95 and 4.03, all negative on the collector. On this pin we got negative 5.35. On this pin, this looks like the emitter, we got negative 1.3. 10 of 64. Wonder if those are any good. Anyway, that transistor's right here, and I can't get to it from the top. I'm going to have to try and get to it from the bottom. I'd hate to have to change that. Wonder if I can get to it without taking all this stuff apart. Not easy to work on. This is nice. This shows you the bottom of the board and the voltages. Okay, here's what we got. Bear with me. This is going to be tough, but okay. So we're going to start with the collector, which is right there, which is this one right here. And on the collector, we have negative 5.4. We're supposed to have negative 4, so that's a volt and a 1.4 volts high. Now let's go to the base, and the base should be 0.95. Okay, the base should be right here. Okay, this should be 0.95. It is measuring 1.3, so it's way high. Okay, let's go to the emitter. The emitter should be this right here. The emitter should be negative 0.69, and it's negative 0.016. So this transistor is not conducting. We have negative 5.4 on the collector, negative 1 point something on the base, and we have nothing on the emitter. So this transistor is just not conducting at all. It's dead. Let's see what 2N38855 is. You should always try and avoid the NTE catalog, because NTE, I think at this point only offers like maybe 4 germanium transistors for everything, which would be like an RF amp, an audio output, and maybe like an IF. That's about it. And this thing, you're going to get we're going to find out what that is. And it's actually a 2N3588. So 668-38. Low power germanium. You know, I wonder if that thing's got a whisker in it shorting the emitter to the can. I see all these AF numbers next to it, and I just automatically think, well, maybe it's one of those European transistors that gets the whiskers in it. So let's see. We're interested in the frequency, 200 megahertz. So it's a pretty fast transistor. So we want something at least 200 megahertz, and it looks like it's 20 and 25 volts. 10 milliamp. So it's just a high frequency, low power transistor. These are spec sheets on Russian germanium transistors that I stock. Here's a GT309. This one, the frequency is only good to 120 megahertz, so that one's out. Here's a GT313. This one is, well, 350 or 450 to 1,000 megahertz, so this is what we want right here, GT313. I should have these. These are all Russian, well, this one's not. But these are all Russian germanium transistors, and I use these for repairing this old stuff, and they work very well. You get them off of eBay, you gotta buy them in lots, you gotta open your wallet up, but that's okay. We like to open our wallet up here to fix stuff. We're not penny wise and dollar foolish. So GT313. Okay, the package is a little different, but this is a GT313, and it has the case ground. So going from the top down, it goes emitter, collector, base. You can always verify that in this thing. Okay, now the difficult part, which is going to be desoldering this thing without damaging anything, and we'll replace this capacitor. I don't know, maybe I should check these and see if they're any good. That thing was extremely difficult to get out. Yeah, it's measuring as a diode. It's bad. 0 picofarads, huh? That's interesting. And I checked that. That lead there is the case ground, so. Yep, dead transistor. Man, that was not easy to get that out. I ended up having to use this thing to grab it. I think I got it in there right. At least I hope I got it in there right. Getting the leads into those positions was kind of difficult. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Here we go. Oh. There's no antenna on it. Kind of, something's off. It's kind of quiet. Let me get an antenna. Interesting. Connecting onto the FM antenna makes no difference. So is the RF amp dead?
Yes, because most of the ones that have refinanced within the last 6 months or longer. So, yes, do it.
Okay, let's complicate it. What about a person who took out cash? And get a loan.
I don't know that when you do what we call
It's like the RF amp is dead. Crap, the RF amp is bad too, because if I connect an antenna onto the converter, it gets real loud, but if I connect an antenna here, there's nothing. This is the FM RF amp right here. This guy. Check this out. If I just touch a wire, this is just a open wire to this coil. Oh boy. Thunderstorm flavored. So we've got a bad RF amp transistor too. That transistor is up underneath here. Freaking lightning storm's really getting cranked up. I wonder if we could hear it on AM. Let's see.
No, about a week ago. This week.
See if we can hear the lightning strikes. Wow, so both the FM, RF, and the FM oscillator are bad. Well, the FM oscillator was bad. That's not going to be easy to change. I wonder how you get to that. There's your lightning. Let's get some video of how this thing is. And that's interesting. That's like a male slotted screw right there. Yeah, let's get some video of how this is put together before I take it apart. I have to change that RF amp. Am I down to work on a radio in a lightning storm? You better believe it, especially when the RF amp is fried. So, it's the RF amp. Man, having the factory service manual sure makes this easy. Weird, this one tests okay. This is the RF amp, it tests okay. I don't know if I attach an antenna here.
Hey, Eric.
Like
Huh?
your social post. I liked it.
Oh, thank
Wigs, cut off jeans, pulling me in like a...
It's on Ultima.
Maybe just because it tests good doesn't mean it actually is good.
You know, we're getting to
Well, if that's not proof that the RF amp wasn't bad, I don't know what is. See how that woke it up? Okay, there's channel 6. Radio Guadalupe, television channel 6.
Alimenta tu espíritu.
There's K-Jazz.
a 17th century smartphone.
That in Max.
Okay, so we know that both the FM RF amp didn't work, was bad because the antenna wasn't responding, and the FM converter oscillator wasn't working. Okay, this is 88. This is channel 6. And channel 6 should be down here. This is K-Jazz 88.1. This needs to be shifted down some.
Living for less.
And then that hopefully will shift this down.
Hi, Cliff. I'm Huffle, Southern California.
Because I'm maxed out and I'm not even to the top of the FM band.
Oh my god.
So, alright, so according to the instructions, we want to turn the coil to set the bottom of the band. So we'll go to the bottom here.
We have here 24 hours a day.
So until I talk to you next week, have a great week. No, speaking of chance. Above all, thank you for tuning in to Fat Tracks with Gordon Goodwin. Showing up.
Okay, this is tough to do with one hand. I came across these in my stash, and these probably would have been as good or maybe a little bit better than the Russian germaniums. These are ECG NTE 160, which is FMRF broadcast receiver stage. And here's a Raytheon version of it, and these are 400 megahertz. So one of these days I might try these in the Zenith and see if it works better. Okay, that's a lot closer, because that's 107.1. So now I need to use the capacitor to move that down. Okay, now I think what you do is you kind of peak this one. This is the RF.
Esto es Guadalupe Radio. Que no se apague la llama de la fe y que nuestra especie.
Kurt Slavin and my colleague Susan Davis. I'm glad to have you all here in person. Sue, it's nice to get you out of the booth.
It's great to see you in person,
Yes,
Michelle.
and we can actually walk around a little bit.
70,000 Nevada Democrats voted early here, and precinct leaders are already tasked with counting those votes as if they were cast in person today. Many leaders will be using party-provided iPads and new technology to help with the math. That's unclear. And that was your president. Maybe threatening us all at a rally. Moments from the opera stage. The great it's over.
Ready or not, here I go.
No, por 129. Cualquier conductor, los precios más bajos.
That, Pat. Great for the brain. Great for...
We've got to burn the ship.
Scale is way off. But, you know, I'm using different transistors. It's not going to be the same. This is like,
Sure, Pat. What we need
that's
to understand
99.5.
is that it's a natural molecule to the
That's 99.5 FM, so it's
in your system, and
it's going to be real hard to get it, you know, where it should be, just because the transistors are different. The taper is going to be different.
in your
Walk you around the foothills of my town. 800 485 1049.
Plus live music, extreme stunt shows, and so much more. You have to be here. Tickets at Auto Club Speedway.
That's 105.9.
Race. JacobyandMyers.com is where you need to go if you.
Weinberger.
This is AM.
는 번거로움이 따릅니다.
전정사 11.
And hip-hop.
Come on.
Museum President Henry Beecher Higgs III says the music tells the story of our nation.
American music began when the Africans were brought over in slavery.
Su carrera. RelevantRadio.com. A safe haven. Which hands are alive.
You see quite a few Clippers players there.
Penrose want you to experience playing with four.
So it works fairly well. I did go through and test all the capacitors. Of course, this one was broken. This one was open. That one, I put a tantalum teardrop in there because that's what I had. The one that came out was a 4.7. These two are okay. The ESR is okay. The black ones are good. This one's okay, not great. So there's our new Russian transistors right there and right there. our GT313. And it's working. It's alive again. Repair of a Zenith Royal 810 AM/FM transistor pocket radio.
So to kind of echo what Scott was saying there, I think one of the most interesting things to me is, in part, I went to the Bellagio site because there had been a lot of chatter this cycle about the powerful culinary union. And I had seen Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Joe Biden actually all speak to those culinary union members at various town halls. And long story short, there was some concern from...
Because I don't want to be accused of ageism, but I feel like Biden, in his responses to things over the course of this campaign, has been a little fuzzy, and I feel like we need somebody that's really on their game.
And so I mean, it's worth pointing out that Biden is actually younger than Bernie Sanders, but she finds that Sanders has just been sharper in his debate performances, and she believes would be better equipped to take on Donald Trump.